We're blitzing through the seas in my book, Paul Murphy, Extremely Unlikely History of the World Part 1. I really must adjust that camera. Sorry about this camera. Safety camera. Czech Republic. The history of what are now known as the Czech lands is very diverse. These lands have changed hands many times and changed their underwear even more. They have been known by a variety of different names, such as the Kingdom of Bohemia, which existed between 1085 and 1348, the lands of the Bohemian Crown, 1348 to 1918, and Eric, for one afternoon in 1924, when I was in a particularly silly mood. Bohemia was a duchy of Great Moravia. It was later a kingdom in the Holy Roman Empire, and subsequently it was part of the Habsburg monarchy and the Austrian Empire. It was also once four down in the Times crossword. What is that smell the opposite of her said to the once Miss Sinatra? How do I put that? Moravia? You need to go back and read that to get that to suss out. I'm terribly sorry. Some of these things just don't work unless you read them off the printed page. Bohemia, like neighbouring Bavaria, is named after the Bolly, although not very well, since Bolly doesn't sound anything like either. The Bolly were a large Celtic nation known to the Romans for their migrations and settlement in northern Italy and other places, such as somewhere else. One of the most famous rulers of Bohemia was Wenceslas I, aka Saint Wenceslas, who was the Duke of Bohemia from 921 until his assassination in 935. His younger brother, Boleslaus the Cruel, was complicit in the murder, the bastard. He was followed by his son, Boleslaus II the Pious, who was in turn followed by his son, Boleslaus III the Red. After that, the trilogy became less popular and the franchise ended there. A mooted reboot, Boleslaus IV A New Hope, went no further than that because Disney's lawyers sewered the job of a hat. Well, this is one of my favourite bits coming up here. I remember writing this now. I should just point out that this is true. I actually, when I wrote this, okay, so I went through these countries and found out what they were famous for and their times and and then I spoofed the heck out of them. I could spoof the snort out of them, I could indeed. Defenestration was invented in Bohemia, or at least turned into a sport. I'm just going to move this second camera. I do apologise, but it's driving me scatty here. There's my face up close. Not good, is it? There you go. Don't get motor neuron disease. It's not good for you. That's not much better, but it'll do. As we were saying, defenestration was invented in Bohemia, or at least turned into a sport, with the first of the defenestrations of Prague occurring in 1419 and the second in 1618, a gap of approximately the same time as between away wins for Yeovil Town FC. NB, this does not stand for football club. Defenestration, I'm not going to do all the brackets here. Defenestration, if you haven't looked it up yet, is the act of throwing someone out of the window. Which is true. On the 30th of July 14, Jan Zlivsky, a Hussite priest at the Church of the Virgin Mary of the Snows, led his congregation on a procession through the streets of Prague to the new town hall, as the town council members had refused to exchange their Hussite prisoners or granted planning permission for an outside loo. While they were marching, a stone was thrown at Zlivsky from the window of the town hall. This enraged the mob, as the stone missed him by a mile, and they really wanted to see him clocked by one. So they stormed the town hall. Once inside the hall, the group defenestrated the judge, the burgomaster, and several members of the town council by throwing them out of the window. As the hall was on the ground floor, nobody was hurt, and so they brought them all back in again and took them up to the second floor and defenestrated them again. This time there was a serious casualty, as they all landed on Vaclav Stump, a visiting pigeon painter from Ostrava who just settled down for a nap in the garden. He was He was immediately martyred by the Bürgermeister as Vaclav the Flat. Sorry. I can't read that. I was duly folded up, put in an A4 envelope, and posted back to his next of kin. Advertising break. I'm going to fan myself down with a quick copy of my book maybe tomorrow. Blah blah blah. By now, Zlivsky was enraged and ordered that the group be defenestrated from the highest point of the building. It's a bungalow, replied one of his followers. Bugger, said Zlivsky, and ordered that 15 more stories be built. I'll get the hang of this yet, he stormed. 8 months later, the added floors made an impressive building, and the town council were duly led to the top deck and defenestrated once more, pleasing several of them who quite enjoyed it. Fortunately for them, in the time that it had taken to add the extra height to the building, a mattress shop had opened up next door, and this was the day they had their annual garage sale. Instead of plummeting to their doom, the judge, the Burgermeister, and the several members of the town council landed on nice soft springy mattresses, whereupon they bounced off with great velocity and went splat against the wall of the town hall, killing them immediately. Look, Zlivsky said to his congregation, if anyone asks, they were killed by the fall, okay? Okay, said his congregation, but unfortunately they were all then killed when the bodies of the defenestries slid off the wall and landed on them. Unsurprisingly, defenestration never really took off, neither did the town council. A plan to reintroduce it the next year was unsuccessful, as Zlivsky used birds to illustrate the idea. Throwing 20 pigeons to their doom out of a window failed to attract interest, as the birds simply flew upwards. To rub it in, they all crapped on Zlivsky's garden as they flew off. 2 years later, Zlivsky tried to update the idea, but his scheme of killing the new town council by throwing them in through the window on the 15th floor of the town hall resulted in him getting a hernia at the first attempt. Maybe we could use a catapult, he said to the onlooking crowd, but they were too busy rolling on the ground, laughing at him. A broken man, Zlivsky died the next year when he was going to work, and somebody threw a wardrobe out of their bedroom window and it landed on him, breaking him even further. His last words were reported to have been, "See, I knew this was ideas a winner," although other sources suggest that his last words might have been, "Oof." Much longer for you. The Czech Republic, 2 more minutes folks. The Czech Republic is the highest per capita beer drinking country in the world, knocking back an average 43 gallons, aka 160 litres, per person per year. That figure trebles if a tourist coach from Newcastle turns up. Pilsen, aka Pilsen, a city in western Bohemia in the Czech Republic, is the birthplace for Pilsner beer, created there in 1842 by Bavarian brewer Joseph Gröll. Gröll became, why am I suddenly in Swedish voice? Gröll became known as Vater des Pils to Germans, the father of the pills to the English, and the father of the overtime to public house cleaning ladies the world over. Gröll died on the 22nd of November 1887, aged 74, of a heart attack, grateful for never again having to pretend to not having heard that one before when an English tourist said to him, "Hey, Joseph, are you taking the pills?" The Czech Republic has a plethora of castles, being home to over 2,000. This is because of its location in the centre of Europe and its neighbours' tendency to invade it. Nicer Christmas cards from them could have saved a lot of stonemasons a lot of back trouble. Prague Castle is the largest ancient castle in the world, at about 570 metres, 1870 feet, in length and an average of about 130 metres, 430 feet wide. It occupies an area of almost 70,000 square metres, 750,000 square metres. Although it is only 7 inches tall, it attracts over 1.8 million visitors annually, none of whom can get in. Fun fact, Unused jokes in this section include, have you seen a Czech dressed in Czech with a Czech? I'll check. Paraphrased from the ad infinitum. And the Czech Republic has a plethora of castles, being home to over 2,000 because castles breed like no tomorrow. That was a Czechoslovakia bit, a bit more from there, so I need to stand up now, turn this off. Don't go away, or do if you've got somewhere to go.